live, guys, on YouTube. And now we are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the quarantine edition of Fuckup Nights Hyderabad. So, before we begin, let's give some time for all the others to join in. Meanwhile, you can, introduce yourselves in the chat and, yeah, just make some new friends. I know we're all physically, distancing, but virtually we can all stay connected. So, just leave messages in the chat group and see who's in, and maybe you meet somebody you've never, spoken to in a while. While we wait, I also want to know, how many of you have attended Fuckup Nights, not just in Hyderabad or any, any city across the world. So if yes, you can let us know. I see we have people from Chennai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, people from startups, students, and So I see a lot of first timers, people from Pondicherry. Nice. I think it's also time for everybody who's not from Hyderabad. It's people from Singapore as well. It's time for you to discover if Fuckup Nights is already happening in your city. If it's happening, you should definitely attend one. Otherwise, if this interests you and if this really resonates, if you resonate with the vision of the event, you could probably apply for it and become a host in your own city. Awesome. Um, let's give it 5 more minutes, and we have crossed over. We are close to 200 registrations, so let's give them some more time for people to join in, and yeah, and begin the session. So while you're introducing yourselves to all the audiences and the rest of the people, you can also say what you do. If you're an artist, maybe you can say you're an artist, or yes, the previous edition was fun. It was really fun, and it happened at Triple IT Hyderabad. So I see repeated audience. It's really nice, and also a lot of supporters. We already have a question for speaker. People are eagerly waiting to listen to Vechik's session. So you'll have to probably wait for a little longer to hear him. It's so interesting that we have people from different walks. If somebody is a blogger, somebody is in corporate, somebody works for a startup, somebody is a founder, somebody is an artist. So this is the place. That's why we always say at Fuckup Nights that failure doesn't discriminate, and so don't we. So when we say failure, people generally they always think, it's only about entrepreneurship or startups, if somebody in startups. So people, not just in startups, but people in different backgrounds also face different kinds of failure. Yeah. Yeah, so while all of you are already here, I will again bring this up as we go through the presentation. You are at Fuckup Nights Hyderabad, so let people know that you're doing the coolest thing during the lockdown on a Saturday evening. So yeah, probably check in or tag us everywhere and let others know that you're in this with us in today evening. Okay. All right. Again, hello, everybody. Let's begin the session. I am Pranita, and I am the host. I lead the Hyderabad chapter of Fuckup Nights. So yes, I think most of the first timers did not really know what Fuckup Nights is, and they had all sorts of confusion or what this is, what is this all about, what do they do at their events and everything. So well, you're here today, so you'll understand everything about Fuckup Nights. So you are at the fourth volume of. So some fuck up had to happen today because after all, it's fuck up nights. So yeah. Yes. So here are some safe and fun online events. And you are at the first online edition of Fuck Up Nights. So what makes it extremely special is that we have co-organized this event with Trupush. So Trupush, as you all know, or you will know immediately, is one of the leading push notifications firm in India, and they have support. So an interesting fact about Trupush is that one of their co-founders, Ravi, was the speaker at the second volume of Fuck Up Nights. So since then, our association has been going stronger and stronger, and to this level that they have. They're co-organizing this event along with us. So before we begin, I want all of you to know what TruePush is and the vision behind them deciding to support us.
Sure. Thanks, Pranita. My name is Ravi Vaka. I'm the co-founder of one of the leading push notifications tool called TruePush. So TruePush is a push notifications company for websites and mobile apps. So essentially, anyone who has a website or a mobile app can just integrate our tool and start sending notifications to their subscribers. We are not available for mobile apps as of now, but then we will be live soon enough. So we started in the year 2019, and over a period of last 1 year, we're working closely with marketers and developers of close to 15,000 plus brands across the world. So, which makes us one of the leading tools in this push notifications category. We are one of the top 10 companies right now. And we're just hoping to become number 3 by end of this year, hopefully. And to know more about our company, you can always visit our site, truepush.com. As Pranita mentioned last year when she called, invited me as one of the speakers, I spoke about two of my failure ventures. And of course, I emotionally got connected to the idea about speaking about professional failures. And soon after, we decided to work closely with Fuckup Nights, as we felt that this is a great chance for us to meet like-minded people in the community who have similar thoughts and ideas like us. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and we are happy to co-host this event today. Thanks again.
So I know all of you guys, yeah. Thank you so much, Ravi. Thank you so much for all the support you've been giving us. And that's TruePush for you guys. So in case you people are still curious, just head to their website. I think you can also write to them. They have a chat option and they're very responsive. So in case anybody's looking to avail push notification services, you can always reach out to them. Yeah. So here it is. To everybody curious about what Fuckup Nights is, probably you all must have read or heard somewhere that Fuckup Nights, it's a platform where it's a community, it's a very growing community where people share their professional and business failures. So that being said, the main reason behind why do we have to share somebody's failures when we know how many product downloads X company has or how well they're doing on Kickstarter or things like that. What is the reason behind knowing somebody's failure, professional failure to be precise? Yeah, uh, this is the reason. So as you can see, this is how people perceive companies. That's how they understand. That's how people generally put out, right? You only see the good and everything after all the hard work is done. The fruits of it is what we generally see. But is that it? Not really. It takes a lot of hard work and perseverance and a lot of failures and resilience to overcome that failure for somebody to, go ahead and overcome them and make make a mark in their career on whatever profession they are, be it an artist or be it an entrepreneur, be it somebody in the corporate. You want to climb up the corporate ladder, but you really can't. You you can have your own reasons, but if you're trying and trying, but still you have failed because of things you were unaware of, and then later realize, this is the platform where we share such stories. So, this is this is solely because somebody else who wants to try to achieve something in their career will learn from our mistakes so they don't do the same thing again. So how did all of this start? So this dates back to 2012 when a group of five friends, they were just hanging out, and after a couple of drinks, one of them started saying, "Why is it that people only talk about failure?" So they started sharing, their personal failures, the failures they had throughout their career, and they found it extremely liberating. So that idea of, and they also discovered that although they were friends for a really long time, they didn't really know each other's failures much. So that's when they decided to do it again and again. So a conversation over a table at a bar led to a global movement. which is in more than 300 cities across the world and 90. I think it's in. I think Jade would be the best person to answer. I think it's in every continent except for Antarctica, right? Yeah. So it's everywhere, and we are so happy to bring it to Hyderabad because, as all of us know, Hyderabad ecosystem is very nice, and we're slowly growing. So our vision, at Fuckup Nights Hyderabad was to create ego-free spaces in the ecosystem, where people get to be very vulnerable and and survive equally as somebody who has thousands of achievements. Because this person has better learnings than that is what we truly believe. So that doesn't mean that we encourage you to fail. So that's a very yeah, but it's okay if you do. It's okay if you try, and if you do, it's totally okay. So that's about Fuckup Nights. If anybody have any questions about still Fuckup Nights and how do we do it, where do we do it, you can just ask us. Yeah, these are the 5 people that started it over some drinks. I think best ideas come after a round of drinks. That's 47. I think by the end of 2020 or ideally 2021, we should be in more than 60% of the world. And this is our journey so far. So we've hosted 3 offline events, and we were also invited to be one of the panel members to represent ourselves at an event in Hyderabad. So you can see a glimpse of it here. So we do host offline events, and it's really fun because you meet a lot of like-minded people. You share the same vibe, and nobody's judging you for anything. Where people share their own, not just the speakers. What we observed in our offline events is that the audience also, they share their failures with the fellow participants, and they go away, they network for a lot of time, of course over some beer. That's when it gets more vulnerable after that, and that's how it generally is. Yes, we are live on YouTube. uh, we are live on YouTube, and you can post the session. If you can rewatch it on YouTube. It's on Fuck Up Nights YouTube channel. And while you're here, show us some love because we are a growing community in Hyderabad, and you can follow us everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let people know that you're here. So embrace your faults and lovingly help others improve. So that's one of our manifestos. That's from our manifesto. Yeah. Yeah, so before we proceed, as you can see, you can chat with each other, with the speakers or with us or the other attendees in the chat option. And you have a separate Q&A option where after the end of every speaker, you get to ask them directly questions. So you can type in your questions there and do it. Yes. Yeah. So just give me. So as you all know, there's one little thing I wanted to share is that as you all know, we have partnered with Amazon Web Services for this event, and this event, and they would be sharing, they would be giving credits worth up to $5,000 to selected startups. So I'm sure all of you have already signed up, but we will also be sharing a link in the chat section. So in case you have, this is so particularly for startups and companies who are, who are willing to avail these credits, you can fill in your details there. You can fill in your details there, and our team will reach out to you. And over to you, Taran. I'm not wasting any time. So I just want to give a small introduction about Taran. So I do not really know him personally, but a few months ago, I think in August 2019 is when I got to actually see their products, which he would be going to tell you what it is. So, and they are, I think, the softest shoes I have ever felt till date. So that's when I I discovered Taran and their product. So he's the first speaker of the night, and in 2017 is when they started Nemans. And way before this, Taran was in a corporate hustle. He was trying to climb up the ladder, and he had his own share of experience, and within less than 2 years of starting up, they were recognized as a game changing brand by Nexa. So that's a really great thing. It's not we all know the amount of hard work and perseverance that something like that takes, but behind all of this also there are a lot of untold stories. So here is one for us. Please, Taran.
Thanks, Pranita. Thanks for the introduction, right? And thanks for setting this up. Just some background about Fuckup Nights. I kind of love the idea when you brought it up because, when you read about massive success stories, nobody talks about failures. Nobody talks about actually what goes in behind, creating those success stories. Right. So who am I? I'm Taran Chhabra. I'm one among the founders of India's first sustainable footwear brand, Nemans. So what we do here at Nemans is we've kind of moved away from anything that is synthetic, anything that is chemically loaded, anything that is a man-made fiber. And we've looked at Mother Nature, right? We've looked at anything that can be naturally procured, anything that has lost its life. We get it back in the form of recyclable material. And then we make shoes. And in the process, we've created perhaps the most comfortable, workday sneaker. All right, I don't have access. So the first fuck up for me for the night, all right? Pranita, I can't access my tech.
Just give it a second. I think there'll be a lag.
Yeah,
for a second.
I've requested control.
Yes.
Right. So kind of give you guys a big, a quick introduction. It's moving pretty quickly now. All right, so I'll kind of give you a quick background, right? Like Pranita was mentioning, I've had my fair share of corporate hustle, right? I've worked for about 10, 12 years in America, in different parts of America, helping different, corporate companies strategize, build better data systems, build better technology, and kind of grow the revenue stream. So the idea for Nemans spun about in 2016. I'm kind of give you that entire bubble, right? Entire story of what was going on behind the scenes, right? So the idea for Nemans spun about in 2016, and we'd spent good 2 years or 2.5 years in trying to strategize, trying to create the entire value chain, set up sourcing all around the world, and in fact released, a bunch of products to early backers and get feedback from them. So the feedback went well, all the marketing team set up, the hiring, everything was going well behind the scenes. And finally the day came when we were planning to launch. So the launch happened in December 2018, right? So precisely we've been selling for about 14, 15 months, right? And what happened post that, right? So because of the entire experience I brought into the arena and the kind of research that I'd done along with the product, there was a certain arrogance in me, right? Certain feel that this is perhaps one of the best products that I've created, and with that came in a bunch of expectations that I had set up, right? Along with ensuring that we gathered enough feedback and we had spent enough time talking to people. We reached out a bunch of fair share of investors and some of the best VCs of the country. And the kind of feedback that we had gotten was, get to a certain number, right? Reach out a certain revenue, and a check is coming from us. So this is what I had in my mind, right? Within post-December 2018, this is what we had expected. I was perhaps sitting on a cloud nine, hoping to sell out, several thousands of units within the first 3 months. And we'd always focused on revenue, right? We'd said, now because we know that we have to hit a certain number, right? The investment is going to be round the corner. So for us, what matters is revenue. So we do whatever it takes. We just hit to that revenue. And the other expectation that we had was, we have created a world-class product. We've tested it. People love it, and everybody likes the product. So we are going to work with the best. We are going to raise several millions of dollars from some of the best investors in the country. And we are not going to talk to angel investors. We're not going to talk to friends and family, and everything is going to be hunky-dory in the next 3 months, right? So this is the kind of background that we were in, post-launch or during the launch phase. So what happened post that, right? Within the first 3 months, we kind of felt flat a little bit, right? And the reason I said that was, what happened was we had kind of created a bubble around us. We were hoping, and we were only planned for the best case scenario, right? We were running behind trying to sell products. And that meant that we had spent way too much money on every social media platform out there, right? We spent way too much capital that we could have afforded, right? Because we wanted to experiment on demographic, we wanted to experiment on who's liking the product, we wanted to experiment on the right social media platform that is working for us, and do everything within first 3 months, right? Perhaps what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a brand out within the first 3 months of launch, right? And that is perhaps the biggest fuck up that I've done in my entire life, right? The arrogance and the kind of overconfidence that I had to create a multi-million-dollar brand right within the first 3 months. So, kind of felt flat on our face, right? In fact, in the entire team. And the kind of reason for that is we had only one plan, right? We had only one plan that is, hit a certain number, right? So reach a certain target in revenue and the check is coming. So all we did was there's no plan B, right? Everything was planned towards a best case scenario, saying that we're going to sell X number of units, we are going to get this much recognition, and then the checks are coming, and that's how the company just takes off as a rocket ship, right? And that's perhaps the biggest fuck up I've done till date, right? Because what happened was post 3 months, all the people who had committed, or who had reached out to us saying, we are going to fund you, we are going to work with you. Though we got tons of recognition within the first 3 months, right? People were loving the product. We had made tremendous amount of growth in terms of revenue. In fact, we were doing much more than what, other brands would have done in a year or maybe in a year and a half, but at what cost? So what happened behind the scenes was in this madness of growth, we had burned way too much capital, right? We had burned more capital than actually we were able to chew. So that means we were way behind in terms of our spends, right? Or we were burning on every transaction that we were making. And the whole reason for that was, the blind rage of growing way too quickly, right? The madness that we had set up behind the scenes to get to a certain number was causing this behind the scenes. And what happened was we had burnt up way too much money. Right, my corporate stint and working in the US for 10 years, gave me a certain amount of capital that we had spent behind the scenes for product development, right, for sourcing and marketing. But it was all coming to a near close, right, because I burnt up all that capital. So that's when we started, we kind of stalled things a little bit, and we said, we are a sustainable footwear brand, right? What we've done is we've kind of moved away from anything that is, not natural, and we've used things from Mother Nature. So what are we doing here? What are we trying to create? We are going against our brand ethos, right? We're trying to build a brand in 3 months or 6 months, or trying to just to showcase to a certain investor that this is a proven concept. And that shouldn't be what should we be running after, right? We should be creating sustainable value chain, build a value effective cost model for us first, and then reach out to somebody for capital investment, right? So perhaps what we did was we went back to the drawing board. We started looking at each and every spend that we had done for the past, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and we started looking at what we can cut down. And the team was a great strength, the team that created, right? We had all looked at the entire supply chain and started nailing down costs one by one. And what we realized was, it's not winner takes it all, right? There's a massive market out there, right? There is enough market for everybody to come in, to create a clear value proposition, and then to grow from that channel, right? It's not winner takes it all. brands aren't created in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. It takes 5 years, 10 years to build a sustainable product, and then to create that small corner in a consumer's heart that this product is for him, right, for he or she, right? So that's what we realized back then. And then the focus went down to unit economics, right? What we looked at was all these social media channels and the entire agencies that we were working with. It's nothing but a major hoax, right? Everyone wants you to spend more and more capital. Even your investors want you to burn more and more capital just for the sake of growth. We said we are not going to do that, right? We've fallen flat on our face, and what we need to do now is go back to the drawing board and start looking at every marketing dollar we spend. And we put a hard stop and said that if we spend a marketing dollar, we got to make 4x out of it. We got to make 5x out of it. Otherwise, we're not going to spend any more capital, right? And that's how we kind of build a very sustainable, a value chain. Not that we didn't have it prior launch, we did have it, but we didn't have enough plan Bs in case of a failure, in case of an investment doesn't come in 3, 5, 6 months of our launch. So what we did was we, worked with a bunch of, friends and family, right? That's when we started looking at who's going to be trusting us with our idea, right? Now, when we launched, we were always looking at some of the top venture capitalists or VCs within the country, right? And we'd forgotten, or we had left aside all the angels all the angel investors that I'd known, all the friends and family who trusted my ability, who trusted what Neiman's as a product could do. So that's when we reached out to them. We started looking at who could believe in the idea, and we kind of raised a small friends and family round for about 6 to 9 months. And then that discipline that we had brought in the last few months, gave us enough confidence to start identifying a pool of people, right? And these pool of people were some of the top serial investors, some of the top angel investors within the country, who had been there, who had done that, who had built consumer brands, who knew what it takes to create a consumer brand, who understood that, consumer brands are not technology companies. They don't take off as a rocket ship, right? They take their own sweet time to grow. And so we spent about 3, 6, 9 months in trying to identify this pool and then pitch to them. And we, raised a decent round a few months ago. So that's how the entire, story of, trying to overestimate, what could be done in 3 to 6 months led to one of my biggest fuck ups. And, happy to take any questions or any comments that you guys have at this point.
Okay, firstly, that was extremely honest, and it was so vulnerable that we would actually feel what you had gone through and what it took you to, build a sustainable brand. Even though you were initially, even though you have a great product, sometimes people think, I have a great product and people will come to me. So that doesn't really work well. And when you said, you blew up all the money, pretty soon when you started. So how do people know, how much is, so are there any metrics where somebody, who's just starting up, or yeah, are there any metrics which people know that, they know something is, they can identify something is going wrong?
What I would advise is whenever you start off something of your own, right? So we looked at 3, 6 months or 9 months of capital, right? And we had 3, 6, 9 months of capital ready for us when we launched, right? So we had enough planning that we had done. But the overestimation that we did in terms of raising capital was perhaps the biggest fuck up that we did, right? So what I would advise to any founder out there is, plan for at least 12 to 24 months, right? Ensure that you build a sustainable product that would mean that investors would come to you, right? And even when you approach them, they see the entire unit economics, they see the value chain, they see the difference that you're going to make in the category that you launch, right? That does a lot of talking. And there's always got to be a proof of concept that you need to establish, right? And that's the whole reason that we had bootstrapped to a certain point, because the concept was entirely new, right? Creating a premium brand in India is new, right? People in India today, run after premium international brands. They don't run after premium Indian brands. And that's the kind of mindset that I'm fighting against day in and day out, right? People ask me, hey, this is an Indian brand, to sasta hona chahiye, right? Indian brand, why is it so expensive, right? So that's the kind of mindset that we as a team fight day in and day out, and within 12-16 months, right, we've proved that there is enough market penetration that Indian brands could do, and a lot of international players out there, right, like the likes of Bira, the likes of Epigamia, Bombay Shaving Company, right, the Man Company. They have so much, right? They've gotten out to us at a reasonable scale to prove that Indian brands could compete with the West.
Thank you, Taran. We have a lot of questions for you, so I'll just read them out one after the other, so you can just answer them. So first, this is from Vishweshwara. So it says, "Hi Taran, did approaching e-tailers in your plan? So was it a part of your plan? If yes, what is the outcome? If no, why didn't you approach them?"
Vishweshwara, could you clarify what does e-tailers mean? So I have no idea what that is.
I wish I knew that too, but okay. Moving on, we have another question.
I'm really sorry, Taran. E-tailer is e-commerce company. Any e-tailer like Flipkart.
Got it.
Thanks.
So thanks, Ravi. That helps, right? So what we'd done was we'd seen. I had a clear value supply chain, in my head, right? Now, when we had launched, we had 3 options, right? And I'll kind of stress on that a bit because it'll be helpful for any founders out there or for anybody planning to launch a D2C brand. So when we had launched, we had 3 options, right? One was to start a traditional store, right? To start a couple of traditional Neiman stores in certain malls across the country, and then start selling through that. Now, the reason we didn't do that is the kind of question that we started asking was, if we start 2-3 stores, how are we going to market it? We're going to blow up the entire capital just to, have 2 to 3 stores. So this is not how we want to, launch Neiman's. Then the second idea that we had is, should we approach a bunch of wholesalers, retailers across the country? Then the kind of answer that we gave to ourselves was, if Neiman's is beside a Nike or a Puma sitting in a wholesale store, across the country, why is a consumer going to pick up Neiman's if he doesn't know what the product stands for? So we kind of shelved that idea. And then we took the D2C route, right? We took the D2C route of several different reasons, geo coming into the country and disrupting, the data costing. So we said, best times to launch a D2C product in the country. And when we went D2C, we had 2 options, right? Whether we go sell directly via our website or go to marketplaces, what Vishweshwara is asking. We didn't choose marketplaces because, the overall tendency in marketplaces is to go big via discounts, right? Then the entire value proposition of the product is kind of lost. So we said, we'll go via website. We'll focus on trying to understand who our consumer is. We'll try to see who is resonating to the product more. Where is he sitting? Is he sitting in a metro city? Is he sitting in a tier 1, tier 2? What age group is he or she, right? So for that reason, we didn't talk to, e-commerce marketplaces like the likes of Amazon and Flipkart. We built it organically via website. After we had enough, value proposition, we were doing significantly well. And that's one of the reasons why we gained a lot of interest from several other investors, because we didn't play the discount game. If that helps. Yeah, Pranita, I think I'm done.
Awesome. So we have another good question. So it says, Sandeep asks, given the whole digital outbreak, how does the next few years look for this industry?
I think apart from the whole sentiment, right? Apart from the whole COVID scenario, I think it's a great time to build a digital brand, right? Because now people would be that much more skeptical to go out and shop. So that means every other brand which was heavy on retail, right, now would be forced to go online. So that means even the likes of Nikes, Pumas of the world, right, would come pretty heavily online. And even, some of the learnings that I've got from China, from Hong Kong, places which have recovered, is, Nike had a terrific online last 3 months in China, because it pushed all of its sales online, and people were latching onto products online. So I think it's it's a great time to build a D2C brand or a digital brand in India. And the whole reason premise being, today 95% of sales happen via retail stores across the country. The penetration even with Amazon and Flipkart is just 4%. So just understand the magnitude of opportunity in India out there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So we have a couple of questions about sustainability.
Sure.
So one asks, what was your inspiration behind, creating Movements, and what made you choose this particular sector? And the other is, back when you started in 2016, sustainability wasn't it wasn't a popular term. So people would want to they want to know how you built your customer base in the beginning.
Sure. Right. No, I'll tell you about myself right now. I'm one among those annoying guys, right, who picks up a product and looks at calories behind every product, right? I'm that annoying to the core, wherein I'll ask my mother how did she cook a product, right? I'll go as detailed as the ingredients that she's chosen to see if this is actually healthy for me. And been that and done that. I've done that for a long time, right? So when I'll kind of give you a background of how I started Neiman's, right? So I've traveled a lot for work, and I've always been looking for the entrepreneurship idea that can bring me back to India, right? So I started a technology company in the US, didn't do that well, kind of shut it down, and then in one of my travels in 2016, right? I had my brothers flown in from India, and I had missed one suitcase, right? And this suitcase was with 5 different pairs of shoes, right? So I'm that annoying, and I'm that to that level of detail, wherein I carry a running shoe, I carry a work shoe, I carry a walking shoe, I carry a party shoe, and an extra shoe just in case, right?
Okay, that's a lot of shoes. That's a lot, because generally people complain that girls have a lot of shoes, but I think they should definitely be too.
It's pretty funny when you say this, right? Because when in fact it was actually a film scene out there, and this was in Spain, in Madrid train station, wherein I was running around and my wife ran all the way in the front just to stop the train because I was stuck up there. And it was a husband-wife discussion wherein she said, I am the girl in the family, don't you think I should be overpacking, and you're the one who's doing that, right? I said, I don't feel comfortable with any product out there, right? I used to own over 300, 400 pairs, and I used to buy so many different products out there. And one question from her kind of, kept me nagging. She said, if you have so much problem, and if you have such a big problem with the industry out there, why don't you create something like this? And that stuck me, and I started looking at this industry and started talking to a lot of people, started doing a lot of research. And that's when the idea of creating a comfortable shoe was born. I'll kind of take the sustainable question, right? And when I digged more deeper in the footwear sector, I started traveling to a lot of footwear hubs around the world. I reached out to my co-founder, who's my elder brother, right? And he kind of digged in the idea. He loved the idea. And we broke down several manufacturing hubs around the world. And what I learned from shoes was everything was synthetic, right? Around 15% of carbon dioxide that gets emitted to the atmosphere comes from footwear industries alone, right? These synthetic materials that are used by the best of brands that we know, they are very harmful to the skin. They are used because they are inexpensive, they are easy to mass produce, and there's nothing good happening to the environment because of them. So I said, there's got to be a better way to do this, right? Brands like Epigamia had Raw Pressery had launched in India, and I'd seen a range of European brands that were doing well with sustainable products. And I wanted to come to a country where I become a leader, right? And build something that's entirely new. So I said that's the reason why I came to India, why I picked sustainability, and started educating people on sustainable concepts. Pranita, you're on mute.
Oh, yeah. So this is the last question.
Sure.
So did your customer acquisition cost reduce with coming down the years, or you had to face trouble with the niche customer base that you have targeted down in India?
See, our customer acquisition has come down significantly. right? As and when the brand has reached different corners of India, people know the product, right? That's when the customer acquisition cost has gone down, right? And one thing that we got to understand is when a product is new, it's going to take time to spread the word, right? It's going to take time for people to build trust on what the product stands for. So we did several things to ensure that people trust the product. We came up with a 7-day, 14-day trial policy, no questions asked, refund, right? As a brand, we went pretty bullish on the product. And the good thing about the product is, I wouldn't say we are niche, right? The reason why I say that is people don't just buy us for the fact that we are sustainable. And I'll be pretty upfront about that, right? Because the sustainable community in India is still building. And we don't just sell for the fact that we are sustainable. We have several different other amazing features to talk about that has been, that has led people to try our product, right? Pranita brought one thing up, that it's extremely soft, right? And it is extremely soft, right? It's extremely comfortable, right? Literally, back when I was creating this product, I had worn my shoes and slept just to ensure to see if this is am I creating a comfortable shoe? So there's the comfort aspect. We are India's first sock free brand. Our shoes are odor free. You can wear them in summer, in winter. They're temperature regulating. So we've gone through our churn of disrupting the traditional footwear space and kind of creating a product which is unheard of. So that is kind of led people to believe in the concept more and more. And sustainability is something that we keep spreading and keep working behind the scenes.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Taran. So that
Thank you
was
so
Taran
much.
Chhabra. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
And next in we have Diksha Dwivedi. So Diksha is the co-founder. She's the founder of Akkar Bakkar. And so before I introduce, her professional in terms of career, so I have a very interesting observation. So we all know Diksha as, that she's a soldier's daughter and that she's an author, that she's a great community builder and also a celebrity. But I've known her very little over the last few days. And the little I know her, I discovered that Diksha is a bundle of joy. She's a total bundle of joy and hard work, and she's immensely talented. She's immensely talented. I think she's a dancer. She's a fitness freak. I think she also sings. So if you all want to discover Diksha's hidden talents, you should go follow her. So you know all that she does. All that she does. Okay, just give us a second. So is Diksha there?
Can you see me and hear me?
We can hear you.
And can you see me?
I can't see you. I think the rest should answer.
Okay.
Diksha, we can see you. Diksha, we can see you.
Yes.
Let's
Oh,
go ahead.
I think it's only
That,
me.
that is great. Pranita, that was a great introduction. I'm no celebrity, but I would take all other compliments. Thank you so much. I am definitely a soldier's daughter. So tell me, I can start, yes? Pranita?
Yeah, Diksha, go ahead, please.
Okay, cool.
I
Perfect.
think
So,
there's a 2-second lag because of I
okay,
don't know.
no problem. So I'm going to start. Before my presentation starts, which most of you have seen already probably on the screen, I want to say that I have a story with Fuckup Nights as well. I think a couple of years ago when I was starting up again, I had emailed the Fuckup Nights team, their founders, and they had in fact replied because I really liked that concept and I wanted to bring it to India. And I realized that they had already arrived in India. They had replied, but I ended up making our own storytelling property, and that's called Akkar Bakkar Live now. So Fuck Up Nights, love your concept. Thank you so much for making me make this presentation. I hate making presentations, but this was really fun. So good evening, you guys. I'm going to start with this is the first, slide that you see, which is that I am co-dumb founded. You can see me as Dumb Dora. Um, why? Because when it comes to picking co-founders, I don't know if I want to call myself unlucky or I want to say I'm not the best judge of people. But this is what my story is. Um, and thank God I made all of these mistakes. So you see what I mean, right? One second. You can go to the next slide. Cool. Okay, so you see what I mean by dumb Dora? This is me in Taiwan wondering how the hell did I fail, even though my first ever startup idea was such a success. So for a new content idea in 2014, when the content market was completely crowded in India, we got our first viral article in the third month of our launch. That was the time when you were used to snackable content. You had Scoop Whoop, you had BuzzFeed, and that is the point where I wanted to just go for long form content, and that is where my first startup came from. We hit 21 million page views within a year. So you know what I mean by a successful startup idea. This was my first startup. Which didn't work out very well. So this is me just wondering why the hell and how did my successful startup fail. Um I mean, come on, you talk about failure. Let me tell you, I've had all of 3 sets of co-founders with the one startup that still belongs to me. So I feel like I actually earned the right. By the way, in between, for 2 years, I didn't own this startup. So I've really earned the right to own it today, I feel. Because come on, guys, like look at this logo. I was the founder when this logo was a deal. It was a dick logo, and I was okay with it. I found it quirky. We can go to the next slide. Wait, yes, this is the logo that I'm talking about. No, the previous one. I'm sorry, guys, this is a bit confusing. This is the dick logo that I'm talking about. Um, so yeah, so to give the devil its due, my first set of co-founders taught me a lot of things. One of the things being that you should not have this for a logo, and another example would be that they taught me how to start up. I mean, when I started up for the first time, I did not really want to start up. I was just experimenting. So yeah, I was 22 and this was my first startup. Next slide. 3 logos, 3 sets of co-founders, and one constant, me, the co-dumbfounded founder. This was my second stint at Akkar Bakkar. I just could not give up just yet. Again, Akkar Bakkar was launched again end of 2016 after a break of a year. And we crossed, I think, 100 million page views in 8 or 9 months. We even scored an interview, a face-to-face interview with Y Combinator that year. So again, I had a new set of co-founders, but again, things didn't work out. However, I would say this time I learned a lot about making money, working with brands in a very organic manner, and the urgency of financial independence in my life as an entrepreneur. So I can't regret it. We can go to the next slide. And hello, third and our present logo. This is the present logo. We have an app also now. But this time, my third set of co-founder, or I can say third founder, things didn't work out because one day he woke up and he didn't want to do programming anymore. He wanted to turn to other things. But guess what? This is the best co-founder breakup I've ever had. He is still my best friend. I'm a solo founder now, but yeah, I think through this, the third launch, I figured that I have an app now. So we got an app out of it, Android app. And today I can sing to Akkar Bakkar, cause I give all of me, you give all of you, something like that. Basically, it belongs to me now. Now, in the 6 to 7 years of my entrepreneurial journey, I had massive downs and massive ups. But the one thing that remained was my urge to keep turning my dreams into reality. I had to make for this reason, I had to make a third co-founder fuck up, which I did. And I learned a lot from it. I took two risks without which there would have been no returns in my life ever. I mean, my first book happened because of a story I wrote on my platform, Akkar Bakkar. Like, how many people get to do that? Next slide. All of these massive ups and downs in my startup journey, so much misery, so many times crying, actually brought me to another realization, which is that writing a book and becoming an author gets you credit and fame faster. Not like I was looking for any fame with my startups. In fact, I'm really happy that Akkar Bakkar is not attached to a founder's name. It is attached to its idea, which is the most successful thing a founder can say about their startup. But yeah, this is something I learned when I wrote a book, that an author gets more credit than being a woman entrepreneur in this country or in this world, even though like starting up for a woman is so difficult. I feel like we just don't get enough credit for it. This was the biggest revelation of my life, and I think that's the reason why I have started really working with a lot of women founders, and I love doing that. Next slide. Writing a book also got me a blue tick, which Akkar Bakkar still doesn't have, even though it has a crazy following on social media. This was me when I first moved to Mumbai in January 2015 with a startup, a full-time job, and a mind full of dreams. I did not know then, I was completely clueless of what were to come in the following months. 6 months later, I quit my job and I went back to Delhi to work with my then co-founder. And 6 months after that, I came back to Bombay. I had to shut my office in Delhi, and I was back to another full-time job and another co-founder breakup. So, co-founder breakups are exhausting. I needed a job in between, and that's what I did. Next slide. And this is October 2017, me feeling like a celebrity at bookshops, as if 2016 had never happened. 2016 felt like everything was shattered. But look at me smiling. I've been living every day in this lockdown as if it were my last day, to be honest. And that's what I felt the other day when I dozed off in the middle of the afternoon because I was so exhausted. Until I realized that I have lived my whole life like this. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but maybe today we can just stop at saying that it's a thing, that I live my life as if it were my last day every day. Next slide. And this is to turning my life around from 2015 to this is 2017, I guess, where I started doing storytelling events in the non-Akkar Bakkar period of my life, in between when I didn't own it. This is 2017 to 2009, because with no stress about a well-functioning startup comes time to innovate and do good things. Again, I'm here acting like 2017 co-founders disaster never happened. So I still remember that morning, when I woke up to no access to my company's bank account or admin backend, etc. And for a second, I heaved a sigh of relief before I bursted out crying, of course, thinking, wow, no more making payments and no more publishing stories and managing 20 editors since I have no access and I am no founder anymore. I think that's a break all of us entrepreneurs need in our lives. And I think that's the void that we feel if we are solo founders. When we need those breaks and we don't have any co-founders to look to. But I have learned to solo trip this ride the hard way. But honestly, decision making is so much faster. That's the beauty. 2017 co-founder breakup was unique because on the one hand, my book had released and it was doing well. On the other hand, I lost my source of bread and butter. I have to say, it was a scene straight from The Social Network, the movie, maybe worse. Um but but I think it was worth it. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry or feel famous or not, or see it as a dead end. But I think that was the beauty. That is the beauty of me having an artist side to myself that gives me something to look forward to every day. Next slide. Until this is again the end of the fuck up, I guess. Until Lord ke Buddhu Ghar Ko Aaye happened last year, 2019, my favorite year in my entrepreneurial journey till now. I got an opportunity again to acquire my baby, and guess what I did? I pounced. There I was, not because I'm emotional about my first startup, but because one, I could afford it this time, thanks to Yoso's clients. Yoso is my service based company. And two, it runs on autopilot, and only I know how to keep this company running while keeping it cash flow positive. Um, I don't know whether it's the multitasking, my over ambitious nature of wanting everything I like or dream of, or my YOLO attitude, or my helpless risk taking genes that I get from my mother that made me land at all these places I did all through the 6 to 7 years of my startup journey. What I know though is that I wouldn't change a thing about it. Even if one thing had happened differently in the past few years, my life would have looked completely different. And I wouldn't have the book idea I have today in my mind. Oh, did I tell you that I also had Bollywood dreams? Well, that's a story for another time. This has been my startup journey and a whole series of fuck ups I've made. But I do want to say one thing that sometimes you don't have to make the mistakes yourself. You can just look at other people making the mistakes and learn from them. I have sadly been the guinea pig of my startup journey, so I had to make all these mistakes to learn from them. But I want to spread this knowledge so that you don't make the same mistake. I think that's it. That was my fuck up journey. I hope you liked it.
Thank you so much, Diksha. So that's one head of a journey because thrice losing co-founders. I don't know how you handled it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, what is your learning? So from the first to the second to the third. Now again, if you have an offer, to onboard somebody. So do you have co-founders? I'm sorry, I don't know. Do you have co-founders right now, or is it just you, managing everything?
I am the solo founder now.
Good on you.
And yes, and I love it. I love because I think it was more of my dependency in the past on people. Maybe I won't be able to do finance myself. Maybe I won't be able to do the tech myself. But now I have learned to start paying and delegating my job. So that's what I do. I have a very, very important part of my team, Abhinita, who's been the editor of Akkar Bakkar since day one in 2014. So I do have people working with me, but I don't have co-founders. I love solo tripping this.
That's nice. But this for people who want to start up and probably who want to onboard people as co-founders because generally you might have an idea alone, but you definitely need help. And from what I know, I think co-founders should be, each of your skill set and everything should complement each other. Your individual skill set should complement each other. So other than this, so are there any pointers you would suggest, when somebody is looking for a co-founder? Because it's not like hiring somebody, it's like you're literally sharing everything with them. So because I don't think he'll be an employee, he'll be a part of everything. So are there any pointers you want to give, or qualities, or a checklist which people should go through before onboarding somebody as a co-founder?
Definitely. I think in the past, one mistake that I've made is, if I've had two co-founders, like if we have been three co-founders and there are two of my co-founders, often enough, I've had like two people in tech, or basically two people with the same kind of skills. So the third person basically ends up with not much to do. He has to really create jobs for himself, or her, or whoever, right? So I think really, till you can't pay someone for the job, like if there is no skill that is invaluable, that you can't put a price tag on, pick that person for your startup. It could be anything. Maybe your startup needs needs a great network, and you're just not a social person. You feel like you just don't want to be a social person. Then that brings someone in who has a great network, who suddenly comes and joins the team, and your distribution or your network, just multiplies 100 times. So just actually get a co-founder on board whose skill is invaluable. You can't put a price tag on it. Today, I would rather pay for tech, since I can afford it, than bring a co-founder, because I know Akkar Bakkar is all about content, and that is all that I've done for so many years, user generated content. And I don't think I need a co-founder today, at least, unless I pivot and do something where I don't have the skill.
Oh, that's awesome. So, I believe you conduct events in Mumbai, right?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
So you conduct events in Mumbai. Yeah. So any
Yes,
plans?
I do. We have two storytelling properties. One is called Story of My Life, where all the stories end on a positive note. And another is Voices Over Faces, which are anonymous storytelling events. So all these events, you can just look up Akkar Bakkar Live and you'll find it on YouTube.
Okay. We have a question. I think you probably answered it partly, but I'll just start. So isn't it a burden not having co-founders to manage all the activities? Since marketing, finances, management are different operations requiring different mindsets and hell of energy, how are you managing?
That is a great question. I mean, that is the fuck up I made in the past, to be honest, where I thought I could not do everything. But you know what? I started off, since the time I've grown up, I have been a hard worker. Even though I didn't know that I'm going to do a startup, I only got to know that in 2014, and since then I've been addicted to starting up. Like, a lot of times I have wondered that, Diksha, really, do you want to do another startup? But something tells me that I can do it. So it is very, very difficult. But I am someone who can sleep less and do more. I am someone who's always multitasked. But I delegate a lot. This is the one thing I've learned in the past, that I have to trust people. I have to trust people with their jobs. I should only do the jobs that I do well. So it doesn't make sense if I take 5 hours to do something that someone can do in 1 hour, right? So if for example, there's marketing, though I handle marketing because I'm really good at it, I feel like it takes me very less time to do it, so I do it. But if there's finance or tech, I'd rather pay someone who can do it better and faster than me. So I think that's why, like, everything starts with financial independence in your startup journey, I feel. If you're a solo founder, once you've made that money, then please delegate whatever you can, because you need to focus on thinking and innovating and growing, rather than doing jobs and learning new jobs. I hope that answers your question.
Sure, sure. Okay, so there's a good question actually. How do you overcome fear and overthinking before starting a brand?
Before
So
starting a
before starting a brand, how do you overcome fear and overthinking?
I am naturally an overthinker. You have to see my hand; it's full of lines. Okay, so I think a lot. However, 6 to 7 years it has taken me to become confident in my skills. I feel like there is a skill that I have, which is I know how to market a brand. So there is a lot of fear where before you launch your first brand or the first startup or the first idea, but when you do it multiple times, I think the experience says it all. And very quickly you pick up instinct of knowing that this is the brand that will work and this is the brand that will not work. And through Yoso, my company, we do this for a lot of brands, and we did this for a lot of brands, so it just added to the experience. There is a lot of fear and overthinking involved. It's not sans that, but you have to really start being confident, and I think that comes with experience. It has taken me 6-7 years, to be honest.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so this one is about your book, that is Letters from Kargil. So if for people who have not read it, it's on Kindle, so you should definitely get your hand on it and read it. Any other future plans for book publishing, just like Letters from Kargil? So do we have summer books coming?
Definitely, I keep saying definitely, and because my book is now 2.5 years old. But the sad reality, actually the happy reality, is that I'm also a founder. So I run a company and writing a book. These two things are both very time consuming. So I really want my second book to be about startups. Um and and army and the soldier life, it's everything is very close to me. In fact, my sister's book is coming, which is related to the army. But Letters from Kargil was my first. It happened by accident to me. But the second book, maybe next year. Right now I'm trying to focus on writing a web series, actually, related to the army.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I think we have a lot coming our way from you. So we are looking forward to it. So yeah, I think yeah, most people are in the audience. Now, thank you so much, Diksha, for sharing your story with us. And yeah, we hope someday when you're in Hyderabad, we could do an offline event where people actually get to meet you and things like that. Yeah. Uh,
For
now
sure,
we
for
have
sure.
yeah, thanks. Now we have the third speaker, Vetrik. So Vetrik Omaran, or you can call him Vetrik. So just like I mentioned, when before this session started, when we see failures, people only think it happens to entrepreneurs or somebody who's into business or things like that. But no, failure happens in any background, be it politician. We have seen, I think, this year and the last year, the biggest political fuck-ups that have happened. They still continue to happen. So just like that. Vetrik. So a fun fact about Vetrik is that just like I host Fuckup Nights in Hyderabad, Vetrik is the Fuckup from Bangalore. So he hosts Fuckup Nights in Bangalore. So he's already a part of the fun family. So Vetrik, he was initially a sales and business development guy, but now he's a digital product management consultant for several startups. So he knows, he understands customer mindset and what they like, what they don't, and help people build better products. So over to you, Etrick.
Hi all, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Let me start with how I ended up here. A week back, I was thinking like there are these online events and online conferences happening all over, and any Tom, Dick, and Harry is being invited as a speaker. Okay, so here I am. I've also been invited as a speaker. It was surprising when 3 days back Jade and Parnita sent me a mail asking me if I could become a speaker. Apparently, one of her Parnita's speaker didn't turn up, and I had to fill in.
This is a
Okay.
face palm moment. This is the face palm moment. But we are very happy that you're on board, and you have a great
Okay.
story. You should know. So let's look at the bright side of it.
Thanks. Given a choice, I would be having a couple of beers like Jade there, and I would have enjoyed my evening. I'm sure most of you there in the attendees are also thinking the same. Okay, but anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Saturday evening and so many people attending this event. So Fuckup Nights, like Parinita had said, as I explained in the beginning. We are a movement which we are trying to get this. I mean, success is not everything, right? You need to talk about failures. Only when you talk about failures, you will encourage people to try things. If you never talk about failures, people will stop trying. And when people stop trying, then there will be no progress. So that is the motto of Fuckup Nights, and so happy to be here and welcome you all. Let me start my story. I'm not going to, the earlier two stories were startup stories. So two startup founders, and they were sharing their stories. Mine is not a startup story. Though I work for startup, mine is not a startup story. So this happened way back when I started my career after my MBA. Yeah. So, Jade, how do I go back? Sorry, fucked up. How do I go back?
I believe you have the control. Just try moving it. You can use your arrow keys as well.
Okay, arrow key. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
oh no! Wait.
Just use the arrows.
Okay. So yeah. So this was way back in 2007 when I graduated from a good B school. So it wasn't the topmost school, but it was a good B school. And so after graduating from that school, I was feeling like I'm flying high, and there is nobody could stop me. Okay, right? There was this campus interview, and I wanted to get into a good FMCG or a consumer products company. Wanted to get into marketing there. So I didn't sit for banks. I didn't sit for IT companies. I just sat only for FMCG and consumer product companies. I got into one of those companies. Then I felt that I would move into marketing initially, build some products, build some brands, and then from there I would move into advertising. So I was inspired by David Ogilvy and all this Indian like Piyush Pandey, Prasun Joshi, and all the other advertising bigwigs in India. So after that, I was like, I joined this company. I joined a company in 2007. So this is how I look like, these two photos. But honestly, this was taken 3 years back. I didn't have the photos of 2007. So I looked a little younger than how I look here in this 2010 pic. Okay, so to give a background about who I was and who I wasn't. So I wasn't this guy who would just because somebody I want somebody to do something and go and I would go and keep praising them, and I wasn't that sort of guy at all. So I was like whenever the guy I used to, if somebody shouts at me, I shout at them back. Okay, even if that person is a boss or that person is the one who pays me, I really didn't care. I used to shout back. So that was the guy I was. This other picture, this glass inside a fireball inside a glass ball, that would represent who I was then. So one is this: I was aspiring. I had a lot of aspirations. I was like a fire. I was furious, and I had a lot of aspirations inside me. And then I was also like a very vulnerable, like fire. And if somebody, like I told you, if somebody shouts at me, I would shout back, and whatnot. And but you can see this glass ball. I was also transparent. So I was very, I believed in an open culture. I believed in transparency. So that was what that was the guy I was. But I think in the corporate world expects you to be in a certain way. I wasn't sure at that time. So I was just me. So so after I joined this company, the first few months was great. So first 2 months, I was we had an induction program that was based in Bombay. So we were given an apartment in Lower Parel. So and it was like college. So we had a bunch of like 20 guys. So we were all staying in some place in this place, and every day we go to office. Office used to be only training, and we had a ball of a time that time. So that was the only time I drank 7 days in a row. So that's this picture. So my drinking with my colleagues and friends. So and after that, I was posted in Cochin. So so Cochin, a great city, and then my office used to be something similar to this. Okay, all these guys who have this FMCG and consumer product background would know. All these branch offices would be typically a go down combined with an office, and that is how my office used to look like. And I used to work from there. And but I was traveling around Kerala. I handled a pilot project there, so I was traveling throughout Kerala to for convincing people about this project. And it was good. I was that stint. The first few months was really good. So then that project stopped. Then one fine day that project stopped, and this guy who came and hired me in my institute, who was also my boss. So he moved out, and a new boss came in. So this new boss, honestly, he was new. He didn't know what to do with the management trainee. I was a management trainee then. So he didn't know what to do with the management trainee. So so he didn't know how. I mean, he was also. I mean, he wasn't a matured or a very experienced guy, but he himself was trying to learn the ropes. So and then I was there, and he didn't know how to train me or what to do with me. And then the other part was, there was this all the other guys, all these other 19 people who joined with me. So they were all getting placed. So here, typically in FMCG or consumer product companies, you'll be placed in as an area sales manager or a branch manager if you are in sales. Okay, if you join as a management trainee. So I was expecting to be placed as a branch manager or taken in as a marketing person in the head office. But all my friends were all getting placed one after another, and I was like this guy. So I was saying bye to most of them, and some of them left. Some of them knew this isn't their future in the first few months, and they left. So yeah. So when all this was happening, and basically I had nothing to do in office after this stint, after this pilot project that I was talking about that came to a halt. I had nothing much to do. Nobody gave me. I mean, there was no guidelines from either head office or from the office I was sitting in. But we were called to a meeting where this was like a regional or a southern. I was in Cochin, so it's a southern regional meet. All states from South India gathered together, and all the top management guys came to that meeting, and I was also called for that meeting. I went there. So I like I told you, I was like in a different mindset then. So even like I was kind of brash also, you can say. So I wasn't invited to this meet. Then when all the other management trainees had come there to the same meeting, it looks like one of the top management guys had asked my boss why your trainee hadn't come. So he he gave me a call and he said, Vetri, you have to come. Okay, I said, sir, boss, how do I come? It's tomorrow morning. Okay, he said, take a bus and come. Okay, I said, bus? How do I take a bus now? I wouldn't be able to get a bus. Okay, I need to book a flight ticket. So so I took a flight and grudgingly said okay to that. I took a flight and went to that a meeting which happened in Bangalore, and then all these guys were discussing about marketing strategy, sales strategy, and all the strategy. And at the end of the, I was diligent to take down notes about all the points that were being discussed there. So after the end of the meeting, since this other guy, like, see, I wanted to be one of those guys who got placed, right? So that you need to get noticed. So what I did is I sent a mail across to all the top management people. It was a group mail. So I sent a mail with the minutes of meeting of this particular meeting. Okay, so it's and the reason why I did it is I wanted to get praised. I wanted to get noticed. So I wanted to impress and I wanted to get noticed. But unfortunately, I didn't know that this group also had the board of directors in that same mailing list, and it also had the other countries' partners this company had. So the top management guys of those companies were also there in that mail, and I wasn't supposed to send that mail because this was an internal discussion that was happening, and my boss everybody got furious. My boss got really furious. So so he started shouting at me. He said, like, he gave me a call and started shouting at me, and I really didn't know what I could do. It was an Outlook mail, but I couldn't even retract that mail. So because that time had got expired. So and okay, so that was one mistake. That's a communication mistake that I did. So whenever we communicate, we need to be slightly careful. Is what I learned from that mistake. So after this, my boss, who didn't know what to do with me, he said, "Okay, you go to Chennai now." So we've got a branch there. You go to Chennai now. So there is a nice person there who will train you, and then you can get placed in one of the branches, and you can start your manager career. So I came to beautiful Chennai. I was very happy because I had all my friends there. So and it was Cochin where God forbidden, sorry, God's own Cochin, and so that from that place to Chennai, I was all happy. So I could booze with my friends. I could have a lot of fun. So this pic, I put this pic here because one of my roommates, after I came to Chennai, used to collect all these bottles. He used to collect all these empty bottles, empty liquor bottles. So that's a story behind that. And then I was also diligent. I was working hard. So I took a project. A product that products don't sell that much. Our product wasn't selling that much in Chennai that time, but I went and converted a lot of top dealers of our related products to our product. So and then the reason why I was doing all that because one day I wanted to build brands. So this is that guy whom I was talking about. This nice guy. So he was also from my same town, and he was kind of my senior, helping me, training me. So and I was this guy, but this bit is bit of an exaggeration because you don't have girls in FMCG and consumer product companies, at least during those times. Okay, so and I was doing my work. I was doing it well. So I was like this. I was like this kid. You can see what that kid is doing. There's a bit of a pause in this video. You can see that this kid is keeps opening its mouth for the ice cream, but the dad or whoever that other person is, he isn't giving him that ice cream. So I was in that situation. So I was waiting for my position. I was waiting for my position. I was thinking that they would give it, but it never happened. Okay, so it never happened at all. So and then finally a climax. The climax of that entire thing is that I was given a pink kiss, I would say. Okay, because I wasn't asked. They said they didn't tell me that you have to go out of the company, but they said like, okay, now you can put your papers, you can look for a job, we'll give you time and all that. And then I was basically, I was gently told, move out. It was like a pink kiss. Okay, so that's why I have this pink lipstick here. So then, but this nice guy whom I was talking about, this supervisor, okay, who's where is he? Yeah, this guy, okay, this nice supervisor guy who's even today a good friend of mine. So this guy told me, okay, you better don't talk to top management. Okay, don't talk to top management. Our boss is seriously trying to uh, keep you in the company, okay, and get you a position in one of the branches. So don't talk to top management. So that he said, we are trying to we are trying seriously, but if you interfere in between, and that will confuse things. So that was what he told me. Okay, so I trust these are those two guys. Okay, my supervisor and my boss. Okay, so both these guys, like, they were I trusted them. I thought they'll save my back, and but this is what happened. I was fucked. I had to leave that company. Okay, so my biggest mistake, if you see, is I didn't talk to this in the top management. See, the management trainees usually have two parallel set of reporting. Okay, one is always to the branch where you're posted in, and one is always, and there is this head office people who are also involved in your training and all that. So I didn't. My biggest mistake was I didn't talk to any of them. So I didn't talk to any of the top management people. So had I spoken to someone, there are really good guys. Even if you go to my LinkedIn page, you would see some recommendations from some of those top management guys. So there were some really good guys who trusted me, who believed in me. So I could have spoken to them to save my job, but I didn't. I trusted these guys, and I mean, it doesn't really hurt to ask, right? To speak, right? But I kept quiet. That was my mistake, right? So here is what happened after that. So yeah, so a couple of my friends are here, and it's not them. Like there were some friends there were some friends who looked down on me, who thought that I'm worthless. What is this guy doing? He got kicked out of a company soon after it's not even been a year. He got kicked out of a company. So they looked down on me, and then I literally had to hide. I clearly remember one time where I was in a tea shop drinking tea, and there is this trainee. Okay, there's the other guy whom I was training. I was a trainee myself. Whom I was training as a sales guy. Okay, this guy had also come to the same tea shop to drink tea, and I really hid from him. I hid from him, thinking what will this guy ask? I mean, I didn't even say goodbye to anyone when I left the company, because it was kind of a humiliation for me to go in front of them and tell them that I was asked to leave the company. So I was literally hiding, and meanwhile, my parents were dreaming about a house for themselves. My father, who had constructed and 3-4 houses before that, who had sold all his houses because of various reasons. So when I graduated, we were sitting in a government quarters. So quarters given by the government. It wasn't our own house. My parents were dreaming of having their own house when all this was happening. Okay, so so came out of all that. Okay, so my biggest learning is, so we have to think before we communicate. So when I communicate, it's not only that email communication that I wrote to everybody, but it is also about it, in the same Cochin branch where I was posted. I used to have altercations with the branch manager. I used to have who was my supervisor. I used to have altercations with him. So I mean, I used to fume like anything when somebody says something, and you need to be really careful when you're working somewhere. You need to be really careful. Think before you communicate. Okay, that is the learning that I got. And then, but on the other hand, when your life is at stake, when your career is at stake, when your life is at stake, don't think much. Just communicate. Just ask, which I didn't do either. Okay, so we have to balance it. It has to be a nice balance, my friends. Balance is the key. So if you get that balance, you can kick any butt. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for sharing your story. And so I don't know. So even I am an employee. I have a full-time job. So what I can add to that is that, you should feel like home. So you don't necessarily have to own everything, you know, to the workplace, but you should feel like home whenever you go to an office. You should have that personal connect. You don't necessarily, have to be best of friends, but you should feel safe and have that personal connect with everybody and with the job you are doing. So that's what I wanted to add. And yeah, I think I don't know, firing, the idea, the thought that, you are fired, that can be horrifying. So you have actually overcome all of that, and you've come a long way. And I'm sure you're doing pretty good after that, like way better than you were doing back then. So congratulations to you on that. And if anybody who has any
Thank you.
questions
Thank
for
you.
him, you can ask right away. Yeah. So I think we have employers sitting there, and what do you just in just a sentence or two, probably Taran or something, just 2 tips you could give. How do you treat your employees, or how do you make them feel safe? I think Ravi or somebody, anybody could answer. We can't hear you.
Hi.
Hello. Was
Hi,
that
can you
Diksha?
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, since nobody's answering, I was like,
Yeah,
let me just.
please. Yeah.
Uh, okay, so the question is, how do you make your employees trust you in a
Yeah.
startup?
How do you make them, feel at home or comfortable?
Awesome. So I think the day you're able to make your employee feel like the owner of the company, like, just the providing the sense of ownership to them is very, very important for me, at least. Only that, I mean, I feel like you have to incentivize them enough to feel like if any down with the company is their responsibility, any up is also theirs. So acknowledge them, acknowledge their value or to the company, etc. I think I think sense of ownership is extremely important for a startup in the beginning to give to your employees.
Awesome. Awesome. Nice, nice. So that's why I call it work-life harmony and not work-life balance, because you shouldn't really be striving for a balance while working, because you don't really do it when you like what you're doing, or when you like, the people you're working for. Because I am talking from an employee perspective. Yeah.
Very
That's
true, very true. And
yeah.
Akkar Bakkar that way has been very, very lucky because our editors and everyone have always felt like they're doing it for a reason rather than they're doing it for to get paid. So I think that's a big, big achievement that I feel that we've had with our people who've worked with us in the past.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for sharing your stories. It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful considering, we are in a global pandemic. Everything is shattering, literally everything,
Parneeta,
economy,
Jaded asked a question.
health, and
Jaded asked the question, what do you do now when you start to feel yourself reacting or communicating too quickly?
oh,
So,
right. Yeah. What do you do?
yeah. So, yeah, now I think before reacting. So I think what am I communicating? Is this really what I communicate, what I want to communicate, and what will be the reaction that will come from this? That reaction is what I expect now from this communication. Okay, so or if I need a different response from the people whom I'm communicating with, how do I need to put it? Okay, so that is what I think now, and I do it.
Yeah, you're
Thanks,
more
Jay.
mindful now. That's a great learning. That's a great learning to all of us as well. Yeah, we have to be very mindful and wise when we are communicating. So thank you so much, all the three of you, for sharing your stories with us. So kudos to you because it takes a lot of courage because we have had a bunch of 160, 170 people and all of them strangers, and it takes courage to openly tell this is where I fucked up, which generally nobody does it. So cheers to that. Cheers to that. And having said that, here's a note on what else we do. We also create private fuck-up nights. So when we say private fuck-up nights, that's something private only to your company. So we get in speakers from outside, or we train, the existing members of your company to be, and they will be sharing their own. The same format would be replicated in your company. So if anybody is interested, to have a private a fuck-up nights of your own for your company, you can always drop us a line. We're Hyderabad at fuckupnights.co or just hola at fuckupnights.com. So yeah, so that almost brings us to the end of the session. Uh, so everything was perfect. If only I had beer. I saw a lot of beer conversation that happened. I'm sure Jade is already having. So that's private fucking night. So that's a few events that happened across the globe. So it's going to be extremely, confined to your work. And we have worked with Google, we have worked with the World Bank, Coca-Cola, Bosch, and Citibank. So in case you want, you know, the, this entire setup to be replicated at your workplace, is extremely important because, as you know, we have already spoken about how how important is it for somebody to feel at home, although they're working for you. All of you are a team and are working together, to achieve something. So it's important to be vulnerable and to understand if there are any difficulties, your employees are facing. So these platforms help you discover their challenges and help them, cope. So you can always write to us. You can see, our email ID on the screen. And thanks, guys. Thanks to all our partners. Thanks to Troopers for co-organizing this. Thanks to Pro Media Consulting. And we also have AWS, who is, I have, let me just share the Google form again in the chat. So we have Google form as well. So fill in the Google form. If you have not filled it, don't worry. You will receive an email with again another link. So in case you want to avail credit from AWS, you can always fill out the form and we will reach out to you. And yeah, just keep following us and for our updates. And lovely. Thank you so much.
And
I
hey,
wish I could hear all
dude,
of you, but I yeah, I'm so sad that I can't hear all of you. But anyway, uh, somebody had asked about recorded session. Yes, recorded session is available on YouTube. So this entire event is live on YouTube, and the link will be shared with you. And post the event, this will be posted on the social media platforms as well. So you can always go back and check what has happened. And yeah, so I think we have Jade from Fuckup Nights headquarters with us today. although it's a Saturday, she's working, but she had decided to work.
And hello. And you introduced me just as my dog starts barking. It's been a pleasure to be here, and thank you so much. Firstly, of course, to the brave speakers, because we'd never be able to have this event without people being humble and honest enough to share their stories. Thanks to True Push, and most importantly, Pranitha, Fuckup Nights, Hyderabad. You were amazing. And I've had so much fun helping you to organize this event. You're an absolute pleasure to work with. So if anyone's looking for a co-founder, I know we've been learning to work. But yeah, thank you, everybody. We're having like a little after drink right now. I know you guys don't have beers and I have an empty one. We've still got some people online watching, so it's a bit like Big Brother India. If anyone has any extra questions or wants to say something in the chat, the speakers are still here. So please go ahead and write your comments. How did everybody enjoy that?
And also, it'd be amazing if you can share your learnings in a line, in one line or two. The learnings from the session you had.
Yeah, like give us a couple of lines of what you've learned. And the speakers, how did you enjoy sharing your stories?
Please, speakers, you can.
This is the first time I did it, so I loved it. It was cathartic for me to even make that presentation. So it was nice. It was nice. Thank you so much for doing what you guys are doing.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry. I've been so pushy with all three of them. Like I was breathing down there, like literally, to just work on it so bad. Continuously pestering them. So thanks for bearing with me and helping me out at the right time. And we actually delivered a great session. I think a lot of people, liked it. So Fuckup Nights will keep happening, continuously. And I think we already also have a surprise. So I don't want to, spoil it this soon. So just wait for a couple of days, and we have a surprise coming from our end. So. Oh, my voice is too low. Oh, thank you so much. I think it's because of the mic. Yeah, so we have a surprise coming from our end. So we'll just reveal it in a couple of days. So till then, I think you can just stay tuned to our space. And and it'd be amazing if you share your own fuck up stories, which probably we could publish or host you the next time we have one. So that's and Taran, and I think Vetric has a lot of fans. He has been getting so many messages. Vetric, I think people are literally cheering for him. Vetric.
Those are my friends. I had shared it with this event with groups, and people have come.
Yeah. My friends would have totally come here just to pull my leg. So it's so good. You have sweetest of friends out there. If it was my friends, they would roast me so bad. So bad. I think they're already doing it on Instagram. Posting ugly screenshots everywhere. Anyway.
So there's a great learning actually.
Had its, and somebody called Jaswinder was like writing a lot of.
Yeah, I think he's a kid. It's such a cute thing. He actually came to listen to Taran, I believe. He came to listen to Taran. That is so cute. That's so cute. I hope, I believe, your family members are also watching this.
Yeah. My family is tuned in and they're listening. So, and Vetric just wanted to say, right, I've got fired maybe 3 or 4 times, right? So, in fact, I've had the brighter side of getting a pink slip and then going out and drinking beer. So,
yeah, I have to say I'm really jealous seeing Jade. But we've been following a tradition like to just enjoy a bit every Saturday during this lockdown. So my sister and I have one drink at least. So we have beers today, by the way, Jade.
Cool.
Okay, I'm just pretending that I'm not jealous. I'm pretending I'm not jealous. So speaking of, even I left my previous company. So even that was a hell of a ride. So I had a lot of emotional investment into it. So not that, I'm not saying, things completely went south or something, but there's this moment in your life where you know, it's just not happening. Even it's just not happening, and you don't feel like going. And I think it was that moment. Everybody will have their moments where, you're just mentally done with it. Although you are putting a lot of efforts, you're working and you're delivering fine, the results are fine, but you're just mentally done with it. So even I've had that moment, and this was before Fuckup Nights had already started by then. And yeah, then I realized, this is something I definitely don't want to fuck it up. So then I realized, no, I have to keep doing it. Yeah.
Pranita, if it makes you feel any better, there was a pilot project that I had just began before this. I just don't stop, do I? So,
Yeah.
I know that I can't do the pilot project can't take off this year, because by the time we are out of the lockdown, the behavior would have changed. The kind of stuff people consume would be
I
changed.
know.
So I was like, it's okay. We'll put it on hold for this year, and we'll see next year if it makes you feel any better.
Totally. So, but I was still an employee there, but still yeah, I feel sad sometimes. Ravi was saying something.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Ravi, unmute yourself.
I think he's
Okay.
unmute.
While he
He's on
does that,
unmute, but
while he
can't
does
hear
that,
you.
we have a question. Pondicherry is growing up. Pondicherry is such a beautiful place.
That's my
Yes,
friend.
you can totally start.
That's
Whenever
my
you're
friend. I'm
doing
from
something at Pondicherry, please call me. I've never been
Yeah,
there.
you should
Okay,
totally go there.
great. Now
Totally go there.
Ganpati, my friend, will be starting it, and we will we will have a party after party.
Call me anywhere at this point of time, right? Just get me out of Hyderabad for some time so that I get to fly again, or maybe get to drive
Yeah,
again.
yeah, we're just hoping all of this ends soon. And the things that were normal, it feels, like that privilege now. I
Yep.
was in the evening wondering, will I ever have that favorite chole at that place again, normally, without being afraid of anything. It's sad. Whatever has happened is sad. So all we can do is just stay safe and not
Yep.
get any virus or not give any virus. Yeah.
But we still can't
And
hear you.
Maybe you can write it in the chat, and one
Chat,
of us
Maybe
will
yeah.
try
you could
to
use signs. You could use signs.
yeah, or you could act it, yes, and we will interpret it.
Yes, Damshara would be great.
Amazing. I think it's typing it so fast.
We've got like almost 30 people, 27 people still watching us chatting.
So this is what happens at our offline events as well. So they are scheduled for 2.5 hours, but we've had one event that lasted for 4 hours. It was 10:30 in the night. We
Then
started
you
at
need to
6.
have a closure, right? You need to have a proper closure, right?
Yeah. So we started at 6 and it lasted till
Probably
10:30.
people are not people, yeah, are not aware of it.
So if so this is as we were saying at the physical events, we have if you go to Fuckup Nights Hyderabad, when actually you're allowed to be in a room with people again, there'll be drinks and walking around and talking and having a bit of a chat like we do now, which is why we decided to do this here, to try to make it feel like a physical event a little bit. For me, it's a benefit because I would never be in your event otherwise. So actually, something that COVID has done for me, which has been a nice thing, is that I've got to join these events with people all over. And you can also join if you go to the website. There's Fuckup Nights events happening like this all over the world, most of them free. So you just go, click, sign up, and join one, and hear some more epic failure stories.
So I think what Ravi was, thank you so much, Ravi. So not just on Fuckup Nights YouTube channel, we also have HMTV and the Hunts India as media partners. So already an article they have already written about us, and we have this streaming on their platforms. So I think whoever is left 24 and also the rest, the speakers, and I think even I'll go back and see how it is gone. Like all of you have had a lot of fun. Thank you again for joining.
Okay.
And
I think do you want to say goodbye now? And I will end the stream. Are you ready?
it's the speakers. It's up. Yes,
Awesome.
Diksha is
Thank you
already
so
waving
much.
by. Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank
Thank
you so much.
you.
Thank you,
Have a
Jade,
good evening, guys.
Parit, Ravi,
Thank
Taran,
you.
and Diksha.
Blessing.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks a lot, guys.
blessing all
Thank
of
you
us.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye.